Welcome to part 7 of the Beginner's Revit course. We'll be topping off our model with a roof. If you'd like to get access to all of the course files, materials and resources, as well as 4 hours of ad-free content, you can feel free to head over to my website and check out the course. I'll see you there. So now I hope you've gone alright putting in all the windows and doors and the openings. If you haven't been able to do that successfully, just rewind back to when I did the ground floor. You'll be able to see exactly what I did. I've showed a lot of variation in windows and doors, so you should be able to see and should be able to do this for yourself. Now we've got a pretty fully fleshed out building. Now, since we've been working from the ground up, we're going to be adding a roof on top of this to kind of hat it off, to finish it off. Also, there's still a lot to do after that, cleaning it up, making it look really nice, doing some renders perhaps, and we'll get to that next. But first, let's put the roof on it. And to do that, we're going to be using the architecture tab and clicking the roof button. And under here, you've got this little drop down menu. You can do a roof by a footprint, you can do it by extrusion, you can do it by face, and then you've got some soffits, fascias, and gutters that you can add in as well, which is very good of Revit to be able to include these features. What we would usually be doing is be starting on the ground floor and creating a roof from the ground up, but as you can see, there is no roof needed for the ground floor. So we're going to start with level 1. And this roof, what does this look like? If we look at our photos and we bring that in here, let's have a look at what that roof looks like. Okay, so you can see that it's just a kind of little gable, I think that's what you call it, a gable roof with a pretty insignificant pitch on it. I would say that's an angle of maybe, if that's 0, maybe 15, 20 degrees at most, not a big roof pitch. And so let's actually figure out how we can model this and extrude all the walls up to make sure that it touches that roof and make this look really nice and neat. So let's get to it. We're going to start off on the level 1 floor plan. At the moment, all our walls are different transparency. So what I'm going to do is override the graphics in view by category and make these not transparent again so we can see where all of our walls are. Additionally, I'm going to do this for the slabs as well, so we can bring the slabs back from being transparent. We no longer need to see what's below because we're doing what's above. So we're going to apply that. We've now got almost all of our slabs back. Let's see what's going on with the tiles in the bathroom. Looks like I forgot to unhide that before, so I'm going to unhide the floor that we hid before. Now we have our slabs back, we've got the walls back, and we've got already what looks like a pretty good floor plan. Obviously, there's still a lot to do to the floor plan, and we'll get into that a bit later, but for the moment, let's create a roof. So where exactly does the roof go over? That's what we need to figure out. If we look back at the images again, that's not telling us a whole lot. That gives us a little bit of information. You can see that the roof goes all the way, it goes parallel to the wall, and it goes all the way towards that back wall just before where that window finishes. And so because we don't have a roof plan, we don't have the outline of the roof on top of the floor plan, we're going to have to make some guesses here. But we can see that it comes just before that window. So let's draw this in. I'm going to set the range base underlay for level 2 so that we can see what's going on with these walls here. We know that there was we can't actually see the window there at the moment, so we might have to do some changes to that. Because what I want to be able to see, I want to be able to see this window so that we can draw a roof in that is just before that window. To do that, I'm going to use reference planes. Because I can't see it with my range base level set for level 2, what I'm going to do is go to my level 2 floor plan, and I'm going to create a plane to reference. You're not modeling up anything, but you're modeling up a reference plane. And that's what this is up here in the architecture tab. So you go to architecture, go to work plane, and you click on reference plane. What this allows you to do is to find that point that you want to reference, and you can draw a line from it. It's not modeling up anything, it is just something to be able to snap to and be able to select. Now this should be visible on level 1 as well, there we go. And so now we know that's the start of that window. If we look back here, just to confirm, that is where that window starts. And so we want the roof to be just before this. We're going to do a measurement of the wall to that reference plane, and that's showing 735.8. So my guess is that the roof is going to have a 700mm overhang. If we go to the architecture tab and we find where the roof by footprint button is, this is going to allow you to create a roof by sketching it out. So what I'm going to do is just use the line tool. I'm going to create a line that is 700 millimeters from that wall. And this is going to be the overhang for the roof. Now let's go back and have a look at our image. We can see that it also overhangs and extrudes out past that wall. How far it is, we're not exactly sure, but I'm going to guess again that it's the same as the sides, and they're both, all the overhangs are going to be 700 mils. So this wall here is 8,180 millimeters. If we add 700 to that, that is 8,880. So I'm just going to write in 8880. And there we go. That's going to be 700 mils out from that wall, extruded past, as well as from this wall here. So now we're going to go across again. We're going to find that this wall here is 8,832.4 millimeters. That is a very awkward number to calculate, so I'm going to grab that in my calculator. 8832, I've already lost it now. Let's have a look at that again. And we're going to add 700 to that, and that's going to be 9,532.4 millimeters. What you can do is just, whoops, won't let me paste that. I thought maybe I could copy that in from the calculator. I can't, so I'm going to just type in 953.2. Make sure I snap onto that. 953.2. That doesn't sound right. 9532.4 is what I meant. And now we're going to bring this all the way back to, this is going to snap onto the line we've already created, and we're going to bring that across. And it says they might overlap, so let's have a look at what's going on there. I'm going to bring that one back, and as you can see, I've already created a line there. So I'm going to delete that line, extend this one out. Now we're good. If we create a roof like that, you're going to notice that it's created a shape of the roof for us. And also, this is on the wrong level. So the base level for this is going to be, since we've already set up the levels, the level 1 roof. There we go. But that's not exactly the shape of the roof we wanted. If we click off of that, it doesn't look like this roof here, which is what I think a gable. I should probably check that up, but I'm just going to take a guess. It's either a gable or hip roof. And so what we've also used is the 400 millimeter basic roof, which is generic. It's not showing any structure. It's not showing any materials. It's just a generic 400 millimeter thickness. And that's fine for us because the structural engineers, again, are going to do a roof structured drawing, engineered drawings. And so they're going to have that information. So we've created a roof to the right dimensions. We just want to give it this shape. And I'm going to show you how to do that. If we edit the footprint again, what you can do is click on a line in your roof and you can specify a slope that it has. So at the moment, each 4 of these lines defines the roof slope. That is why we've got this slope that goes 30 degrees down to each side. But we only want it to slope from this side and this side. We don't want there to be a slope from here because, you know, it just extrudes out. So to edit these lines, I'm going to select both of these two, and you can see that there are these little angle tools there, little triangles. If we untick the defines slope, the defines roof slope, those triangles disappear. They no longer define the slope. And if we accept that, this still doesn't look right, does it? You can see that it's too angled. So I'm going to edit this again. I'm going to click on these side angles, these side lines, I should say, and we're going to define what slope they have. If I click on the dimensions tab there, that brings it down. And we're going to bring this slope to what we said earlier, which was 15 degrees. Let's accept this and take a look and see if that looks about right. Now, does that look right? I feel like it could have a little bit more slope and that thickness could be a bit thinner. So let's give it maybe a 20 mil slope. We're going to just edit this again. We're just guessing at the moment. We're just trial and error. I'm going to select both of these. We're going to give it maybe an 18 degree slope. We're going to accept that. And now we're going to edit the type. I'm not going to use this roof for anything else, so I can just straight up edit this structure. I'm going to make it maybe, if we look at the reference image, it looks to be about 200 to 300 millimeters thick. We're going to make this 250. Let's apply that and see what we're looking like. There we go. Let's make this a bit bigger, get a good comparison of it. Does that look roughly the same? It's pretty darn close, I would have to say. The question is now, how do we extend these walls up? Because there's this big old gap here, which doesn't really make much sense. And it's also going to be bring up the question of what happens here. And so because we've got no photos of that side of the house, this is going to be pretty hard to figure out. So what I'm going to try do is go onto Google Maps and see if I can get an overhead shot of what this looks like. All right, so here we are on Google Maps. I'm going to blur out the road name and street numbers. It's still a little bit hard to see what's going on, but this roof that we've just created, you can see it actually covers that part in Revit. So this should come over and cover this bit, whereas the other roof covers everything else. That's what it looks like to me. And so then there would be a wall that extends down into that roof space. Let's just go ahead and model up this roof to then extend out like it should. Edit that footprint again. Let's have a look at the level 2 floor plan. I'm just gonna have a play around here. Let's have a look at 3D. We need to line it up to this wall. So whereabouts is that? That would probably be this wall here, that line. So I'm just gonna make a reference plane and extend that out. I'm going to bring this line all the way up to be in line with that reference plane. I'm going to bring this back to probably the outside of this wall here, and then create another line that follows that, snap it onto there, snap it onto there. Let's have a look if this works. And as you can see, the slopes are obviously not set up properly. So let's check that out. This is defining the slope we don't want it to. This is defining the slope we don't want it to. Untick that. Should fix our problems. There we go. I think that is probably what we want. If we look at this from a top view, which you can do with this button here, this is what it looks like from the top. And this is what it looks like in Google Maps. I think we'd be right to say that that's pretty close. I'm pretty happy with how that roof turned out. So now the question is, how do we extend these walls up? And the answer is really simple. We're going to select these 3 walls. We're going to click on the attach top to base. We're attaching this to the roof. Click on the roof. It's as simple as that. I'm just going to double check this up against our reference image again. And let's have a look if the roof looks quite the same. It's pretty close. But now I feel like these windows could probably be higher because it looks like there's a lot more room up here than there is here. And some of these windows could also be a bit bigger. These windows are obviously a bit too small. And so now we're going to have to make some adjustments to that. I'm going to make these the same height as these windows here. I think that will make it look a bit neater. And yeah, you can see they're the same sill height, the same head height. It's just a matter of changing these to, 1400 high. So we're going to edit the type and we're just going to directly change this height to 14. Actually, we're probably going to duplicate this in case we use it anywhere else. We're going to change this to 1400 high. So let's change that height, 1400, click OK. And then we're just going to change these two to be that same window type. Okay, now that looks a bit better. Now these windows are probably not correct either, but we have no images from them on this side. So we've done the best we can from memory. All right, so that roof looks good for level 1. Let's do level 2. We've moved to the level 2 floor plan. We can delete that reference plane we created earlier, and we're going to try and figure out where this roof overhangs again. And so we can look at, I'm going to go on Google Maps. Looks like it's overhanging a lot more than what that one did, but also it's in line on this side with the roof that we've already created. Now what's really cool, because we've already created a level 1 roof level, it gives us a plan as well. So we can open that up to see where the roof is for level 1. And there's something going wrong with the view range on this view. By default, the cut plane is going through the roof. So all we need to do is make this cut plane higher. I'm going to make that 2000 and see if it fixes the issue. There we go. So this is our roof plan currently for level 1. I'm going to create a reference plane from the edge of this roof because that's what we need to snap onto on our level 2 roof plan as well. Again, for this plan, I'm going to bring back all of our visibility by removing the transparency on our walls and slabs. So we've got the reference plane. This is where the roof will extend out to by the looks of Google Maps. And then it's a matter of finding how far over it extends on that roof. We can see it extends out, I would say probably just less than what that is. So that's 700. This probably extends out maybe 400 or 500. And then on this side again, that looks like it's extending just over the balcony. And actually this one probably lines up with the balcony too. So now that we know that, that's really helpful because we can create a reference plane from the balconies, and this is what the roof is going to snap to. There was a slight overhang again, remember, on the front here, and that was probably going to be about 700, just like the front. To create this reference plane, we can't actually just do a measurement of 700. There's no measurements that we can snap to. So what I can do is type in the offset 700, and then we're going to offset from this wall and go like that, bring it around. Now we're 700 from that wall. Now we have the outline for our roof using reference planes. However, there is one other thing that we need to consider, that there's a little cutout here where the other roof goes under. And I'm guessing that the level 2 roof overhangs the level 1 roof by the same distance as this. So if we get back to our level 1 roof plan, we can see where that roof is. And we're going to do another reference plane, which is 700 millimeters off of this wall. So we're going to change the offset again to 700, click on that wall, and then bring it around to snap like that. And then again, just for ease of sake, I'm going to create some reference planes that show where those walls go. I'm going to go back to my level 2 plan. Alrighty, now we're in business. Let's go ahead and go roof by footprint using the architecture tab. And we're just going to draw and snap to these points. So draw from here, we're going around to the edge of the balcony where that reference plane is, going down to this reference plane. Then this comes out to the edge of that wall there, comes down to where that reference plane is, but also overhangs a bit. So we go to this reference plane, go to that plane. I've just overshot there. I'll bring that back. Bring one more line in to finish it off. There you go. You can see we've got the form of it. If we tick it, it's also looking a bit weird. And this is also going to be on the wrong level. We want this to be on the level 2 roof. All right, let's have a look at that. The shape of it looks pretty good, but we're also going to have to make some adjustments to the slope. If we edit the footprint again, what we want to be sloping is this one, and this one. The other ones we can all turn off. They do not define the roof slope. And we're going to adjust these to have the correct roof slant. And it's going to be exactly the same as what we did there, which was 18. So let's select all of them and change the slope to 18 degrees. If we accept that, let's have a look at what that looks like. It doesn't quite look right. There's something going on here that wasn't meant to happen. And if we look at the front of it, that looks like it's going to be a bit way too tall. This slope doesn't look as steep as this one here. If we look at that from about the same view, that looks like it's a much more subtle slope. So I'm going to guess that this slope here is not 18 degrees. This is more like 10 degrees. So let's make that adjustment. We're going to select all of the slopes, all of the lines. We're going to change the slope to 10 degrees. If we accept that, that's more subtle. That looks a bit more realistic. And I think that makes sense. Now let's figure out what's going on at the front here. I think what we've got to do here is turn off this as sloping. Let's see what that does. There we go. That looks more realistic. However, there is one issue. In the photo, there looks like there's a much bigger gap than what we have. This roof might be sloped a bit too not subtle, and I think that's the case. I'm going to drop this down to 10 degrees like that roof is, and I think I can just change the slope from here and it's going to change all of them, and that's going to look a lot better. Once we extend all these walls up as well, that's going to look perfect. I'm not too sure if this does overhang like it does at the moment. Let's have a look at the other photos on the balcony. I think that's fine. Once we get a column in there, that will look normal. All right, so let's extend all of these walls up to the roof. We're just going to select them all. I'm holding control, and that's all of them selected. Let's attach top/base to the roof. And there we go. Isn't that starting to look really good? In the next lesson, we'll be adding in some finishing touches such as railings, columns, and gutters. If you'd like to get access to all of the course files, materials, and resources, as well as 4 hours of ad-free content, you can feel free to head over to my website and check out the course. I'll see you there.